everybody, welcome back to Wappelville, and I guess welcome back to Middle Earth with I guess you could say a tale of two Sarumans here. Now, I painted this one on stream a while back. This is the newer, I guess the current plastic version of Saruman here. This is the old classic metal version right here, so I thought, well, we maybe try and paint this one up, and I think we could try and do some of the same textured cloth on the cloak if that works out. See if that does, and then maybe the same thing on the base right here. It's a pretty darn simple thing, just essentially indigo and some stuff like that. The pre-glaze is going to be really simple, of course. Here, I'm going to get that out of the way here. Just some indigo down here, and I'll probably hit some Van Dyke brown up here, and that'll be about it. We'll wipe it away, and then we'll come back in with our lighter colors. We do have, oh, what's this up in the corner here? This is the fast matte as opposed to the quick dry. This does have alkyds in it, so it should cause all this to dry faster. At least it did on this other one right here. I mean, that dried significantly faster. So we'll see, give it another test, see if that happens again. We got our indigo over here, black spinel, Van Dyke brown over there. Some of the radiance, I think I'll start this off, yeah, with the indigo here on the base. And we'll just let that set, maybe even a little bit of a black spinel into that. So yeah, Grumdy, I knew you got to see a fair amount of that. I wasn't sure just how much you actually got a chance to see of that one there. So I just, things have been so crazy today, didn't quite go the way I would have wanted it to. We're just going to keep things as simple as possible and just do something like this, right? So Grumdy, when more folks come in, obviously you'll have to share your, well, is that 2 or was it, have you won 3 awards basically now with that, with your Kenites there? I know it's at least 2, but I think it's more like 3 if I remember right, which I usually don't. Yeah, I think, have we gotten to any of the like the real shape defining things yet on that, or was it still kind of in the super crazy rough phase? Because it was super crazy, wasn't it, in its rougher phase? I mean, there was some wild stuff happening there. All right, here, let's a little bit of thinner maybe, just a smidge more. Up 3 awards now. I thought so. Boy, and Grumby, it's so cool that it was done with the oils and that it made it just easier. Oh, actually, here's another thing too. Not that I guess it wouldn't really show up. It's kind of a hard thing to assess. But would you think that maybe also you feel just a bit more confident in how rugged that those figures are being painted with the oils? Because, I mean, you're using them, right? You're taking them to tournaments and all that other kind of stuff. Wouldn't you say, I mean, I don't want to be telling folks that it does a certain thing when maybe it's not as much as I think, but I think they're kind of on the rugged side, don't you? Because they seem to really be able to take quite a beating. Well, much more so than the average acrylic figure, no doubt about that. Hey, Green Fairy, how you doing? Well, okay, that's good, Grumdy, because now I can say that other folks are seeing the same thing. You know how it is when it's just me saying it. So, Green Fairy, I hope that you're doing good. And Green Fairy, if I'm sorry that if I haven't had a chance, I think you might have had a question on the Discord thing. It's been it's been another nasty week here, so I'm sorry if I haven't gotten to that yet. I haven't even looked at the Discord thing in days. So if that was your question, and I missed that, sorry about that. Here, we're just gonna throw some of this on here. That's just a little blend of, you know what, I might even throw a little bit of Terra Rosa in there, especially around where the face is, whatever. This is gonna be one of the more simple, kind of old-fashioned style pre-glazes right here. Actually, I'm gonna move this scene a bit down. There we go. Hey, Laminess. Well, see, Grumby, there's the big test, right? Painting the terrain with it, right? And talk about something that's going to get manhandled for sure, no doubt about that. All right, time to get some sponges out there. Now, sponge-wise, I'm going to take the small one, do the indigo part first here. Give that as much time to set as we can. Oh, the Blood Bowl team. And of course, Green Fairy, do you guys, if a guy is stunned, do you put him face down? That's what we used to do back in the day. I don't know. Some folks just use counters or something like that now instead of actually putting him prone or whatever. So I wasn't sure if you're doing that as well, because that's kind of rough on him, isn't it? So Laminus, I hope that you're. Well, today was Friday, wasn't it? Yeah, we were not really able to tell what day it is around here anymore. Just and it was never easy before, right? To really kind of remember what the heck day it was. Now, yeah, that's orders of magnitude more complicated. So I don't know when I would be able to stream tomorrow. At first, I thought, oh, I'll be able to actually stream maybe not at the normal Saturday time, but maybe more like an evening instead of like this in the middle of the night. All right, so they do get handled out. Well, that's good, Green Fairy. Nice to know. So, there you go. That's still a fair amount left behind, wouldn't you say? I think so. Now, I did try one of these guys last night. Yeah, these wasn't super impressed with these. What are they from? Chronicle Games or something like that, or Chronicle RPG? It's like, yeah, nothing special about these. These, however, of course, right, are filberts and such. These are just spectacular. See, Grundy, that's fantastic. Thanks actually for telling me about that, because that's really important. I mean, it's obviously for gaming figures, but just you really don't want figures or paint coming off any of your miniatures, right? So yeah, Green Fair, I'm glad that that's also holding solid for you. So here we're going to get that darker indigo blasted in here. Possibly a little black spinel, maybe here and there. Let's get that shoved all the way down under there. Of course, we have our lovely little example right here. So we're going to be obviously doing some lighter stuff where Saruman's cloak does some reflections on that because, shiny. Yeah, Green Fairy, I think that the cobalt blue might have been also. Obviously, we don't use that very often, so, and it's usually mixed with something else. It's weird. I swear I've seen, like, maybe on Mr. Giggles, I could swear that it actually dried matte. Again, I could be wrong about that, but I don't know. So we're just taking it pretty quick here, right? It's not going to take super long. How was that now, Grumdy? Were you using the Army Painter anti-shine? I usually I'm waiting so many days afterwards. I'm not really in any rush to do it, so I suppose just kind of by default I'm already kind of waiting a while before they have. Yeah, what the heck? While I'm getting the lighter stuff on this, why don't I also get some of the lighter stuff on the floor? Okay, we're using that fast matte white that Landrast sent over. And it'll be interesting to see just how quickly then our Saruman was going to be dry here. Just gonna, I thought I'd at least continue that experiment if maybe the other stuff that I would have liked to have done today can't do. Have no idea what's happening tomorrow. I had hoped to be able to prep that Sauron figure, but I just don't know if that's going to happen tomorrow. Maybe, maybe not. So now Grundy, do you remember it in the early days? This is maybe, gosh, almost 2 years ago. I think it was Bill. Was it Bill Robinson? I think he might have sent like a homemade little jar of this, right? He put in some of it in a jar and it was thinned down. Didn't really notice any difference. This is from Gamlin here. Now, of course, it does have alkyds in it, so that's just something to be aware of. What's interesting, Green Fairy and Grumdy, it didn't, unlike the silver, I think both of you guys have seen the Gamlin silver, right? And you know how it's contents under pressure? I don't think that's happening, not with this white. Now you can see here, it's mixing with the Van Dyke Brown and some of the asphaltum there. So this is not just the fast matte white, it's also got a little bit of the brilliant yellow pale in it. And of course we're going to be changing up this color a little bit too. We're just trying to figure out exactly where do we want some of those lightest lights to fall, some of the midtones. Yeah, green, and okay, so I'm not imagining things. At first I thought, well, maybe it's just me. Maybe I smashed the tube or something like that, and I just had to work out, what would you say, that the pressure. But I'm glad to know that it wasn't just me, not just me, and that's just something that happens. Here, let's get all the way down into here. Look at all that darker pre-glaze in there. Let's put a little bit more of this stuff. See if we can still shove a little bit more of our lighter lights in the crevices here. So yeah, it's pretty wild just how much of that comes out all at once. But the white here, the fast matte white, you have to really squeeze that thing. Yeah, I mean, you got to really give that thing a good squeeze to get anything out of it. Which, I mean, I'll take that, right? That's better than, well, we'll certainly take that over the silver where it just comes shooting out of there. All you have to do is take the cover off of that thing, and out comes the silver flying all over the place. All right, here's going to be some more of our, a little bit of the reflection onto the marble. You're letting the indigo mix with that too, because, well, reasons. All right, that's good enough. I'm going to find me something I can use as a blending brush here, like this thing. We were using this as a blending brush last night. Now, of course, that's another, well, part of it is that stuff's really expensive, and I sort of like the iridescent pearl white better for most things anyways. It just has more, well, utility. I know I say that all the time, but when a color is pricey, if you can use it for multiple things, well, that's, see, there we go, look at that. See? It's almost like one of those Bob Rossian reflections there, which I still think it's hilarious that right before I started that 2D painting, you had Bob Ross on there on the TV. So now, of course, we want to get some more of the yellow into that, right? And that's what we're going to do. I think once we start to get some of our lighter colors in there, maybe mix some Indian yellow with that fast matte white. Now, I don't know how matte that stuff actually is. So this is one of those new brushes, and if you've seen that latest video with the testing of the green stuff, no, not sorry, the Army Painter speed paints. Oh my gosh, yeah, the larger brush. You saw just how thrilled I was with the bigger brush, weren't you? All right, here we're just gonna let some of our Van Dyke Brown also work its way into that. What the heck? We'll just take some of the brilliant yellow pale and stick some of that on here too. And I get if things are going okay and there's time, I might try to hit up. I have a couple of other partially finished figures here. Where's our elf helm? We never did finish off the infantry version of elf helm, so we might try doing that as well. So this, gee whiz, this old metal figure here, I don't know how far back it goes, but I'm sure it goes back quite a long ways. There's that brilliant yellow pale we're talking about. Maybe let some of that work its way in there, and gonna let, you know what? Where's that Indian yellow? There's the Indian yellow. Ooh, these smokes didn't take much of that, did it? Did not take very much of that to, wow, look at just how much more yellow that is. That is way more yellow. Well, another reason why I wanted to do that was to get it off of the hair color, right? Take it away from that just a little bit. Oh, look, we still have some of the pre-glaze that's wet in there. That's good, actually, because I could use some of that here. We could use just a bit of that here. And Grundy, sorry I didn't get a chance to send you a message today to kind of fill you in. It all would have been irrelevant anyway. So yeah, I'll have to just shoot you a message with, well, whatever the new information is. So yeah, anything I would have told you earlier today or last night would have kind of been superseded by new stuff. So I'll shoot you that as soon as I can. Here, let's get some of this lighter stuff down into the crevices here. Same over here. Oh, gee whiz, definitely down there. No, I mean, not too much. Not so much. This way too. And again, that pre-glaze is still there for me to mix. See how we've tinted this now? Boy, it didn't take much Indian yellow to do that now, did it? It did not take very much. My guess is that this Saruman must have come out in 2000, well, probably with maybe the two towers. That would probably put it, GW terms, maybe 2002 or 2003. No, maybe 2002, I don't know. Yeah, Green Fairy, that Indian yellow, I mean, that is, you don't sleep on the Indian yellow for sure. It's got some punch to it. Now, Grumdy, did you see the, oh gosh, I don't have the miniature here to show you anymore. I wish I did. But you saw the thing with the phthalo green and Indian yellow? That was, wow, that was a pretty incredible combo right there. So I looked at it and said, man, that is something else. Now I'm going to try see how much lighter we can make there, but also cool the hair color down here just a bit. Hey Maze, how you doing? Nice to see you back. So Maze, anything that you see me painting on stream, it's always going to be in oils. Well, first of all, love the oils. They're very chill, very relaxing. But on stream, it's so much easier because obviously you get interrupted a lot, right? There's stuff going on. You want to be checking out the chat and everything. And if I'm using the oils, I can just sit there and paint's not drying on the brush or on the palette or anywhere. You know what? Here, I'm going to do that indigo. And just the slightest amount of that. Also going to put some of that on the staff here and get some cooler colors into that. And then, of course, that Kirin, I think it's called, that we paint. Yeah, that Kirin that we did. Also with the oils, of course. Where did you go? There you are. So this was very fun. Lots of Prussian blue on this. We also did some of the, not the Fanchon red, sorry, but the new Naphthol red. So yep, 20 minutes ago, nothing but primer on this thing. We've got our reflection down on it now. Yes, we got reflections on this. Starting to get a little bit of skin tone in there. Here, let me see what we can do. Terra Rosa, where's that? Asphalt. I'll just stick with this here. Let's get some darks around his eyes here. Yeah. And then here in the recesses of the fingers where somehow we didn't get a whole lot of pre-glaze in there. Let's get a little something in there. Tint this in some way, shape, or form. Yeah, well, those speed paints, I have to say, I had kind of hoped that at least they would be like the contrast paints as far as their intensity goes, but yeah, there was not much intensity at all to the speed paint. They were very, very, very dull. I was a little bummed about that. I thought maybe they could be a little bit stronger than that. And then, of course, the fact that they reactivate, that's kind of a deal breaker for me anyways. That is not going to be helpful. Which is funny given the fact that obviously the oil paints reactivate, don't they? In a manner of speaking. Hey Deuce, nice to see you again. Van Dyke Brown. Maybe a little bit of the black spinel. Maybe a little bit of the black spinel. See what happens with that. Just going to pop this onto the staff real quick here, just to kind of mark things a bit. That's probably going to be outside of the base. That'll be the darkest dark, I'm sure. And that's it, right, Green Fairy? You can kind of choose when that's going to happen. Whereas with the, this would still reactivate, right? If I do more dry brushy stuff over this, the speed paints will reactivate. I just don't know. And I know we discussed, is that something that they thought might have been a good thing that they put in there intentionally, or is that just something they didn't figure was going to happen, and somehow they never noticed? I don't know. None of that makes any sense to me. So here again, just nothing special here. I just want to get some kind of dark on this. Now, of course, the metal version of Saruman here, there's going to be, it's old. This is a very old miniature. It's got to be at least, wow, even if it's 2003, that's going to make it 18 years old almost. No, 18 years, no, actually 19, sorry. Yeah, wow, look at that. This is one old wizard right here. All right, I think we're all the way down. They're just gonna take this where some of the staff color hit that. Let's see. Geez, Grumday, I never heard of those. Holy smoke, when the heck did those come out? Was that before the big Kickstarter of the stuff in the tubes? Yeah, I never heard of anything like that. That had to be pretty wild. I don't remember those at all. Yeah, Green Fairy, what was... boy, I hate to keep saying that I was disappointed in them. I thought, that I could do a little bit more mixing with them and maybe get some sneaky shading with them and stuff, and it just didn't quite work out that way. I mean, maybe if I try them again and fool around with them and try different things, maybe we'll find something. But there was nothing fast about them. There was no speed in them at all. It's Friday. Next Friday will be the 17th. Saturday will be the 18th. Then the 19th would be a Monday. No, Sunday. Again, I can't really project that 9 days from now is going to be any better than today. We could hope for that. That would be nice. We might just have to then stick with some more 2D art on that stream. So, Comp Native, glad to see you again, and I'm glad that this time works out for you, Captain Caveman. I know that for our European and Aussie friends, especially our European friends, this time tends to work out much better because they're maybe just getting up a little bit earlier instead of staying up really late or getting up just ungodly early. And this is the old metal one. I'm trying to remember when this might have come out. It could have been as early as 2002, maybe. I just don't know. I don't think it was 2001. I think that was a lot of fellowship stuff in 2001, so I don't think this would have. Now, we'll have to get some sort of grayish greens in his skin tone as well. Yeah, so we got a little bit of white down there, and well, we just took our blending brush and just reincorporated it right. That's all it took. That's the beauty of the oils, right? There's and of course, after actually getting a chance to see Bob Ross and hear the whole "there's no mistakes, just happy accidents" line. Hey, Megan. Yeah, I know it's sorry, Megan, that it's late again. Uh, maybe tomorrow could be more like a 8 o'clock or 8:30 start or something. Well, I'll let you know. I'll let you know as soon as I can. When I know, you will know. And of course, thanks so much for trying to do all the linky stuff last night. That's appreciated, of course. That's how about we get a little more of our light down into here, over here too. Can't all just be dark in the recesses there. Yeah, Megan. Well, Megan, if you wanted to post a link first to some of your latest stuff there, and then of course, Megan, the big guy was looking really good. Hopefully, it feels great to have that out of the way. I know that just with everything as it is, you're not necessarily going to be not like Alfred pleased, right? But I mean, just getting that thing out of the way. I hope there's it has its own pleasure just getting that thing out of the way. Well, Megan, I'm glad that you're able to hit that too. Anything's better than nothing, right? One brushstroke is better than zero brushstrokes. Here, let's give him some bigger eyes there. Well, Comp Native, that sounds, wow, I didn't know they made dragons. I mean, even, a smaller young dragon. Well, Comp Native, if you have any links, like a Discord thing or Instagram, you want to share it with folks in the chat so they could see it and click on that, that would be cool. And I guess, too, if you wanted to send me, if you ever want to send me a picture via Instagram or something like that, I can try and check it out there, too. Well, Laminus, I hope that all the printing stuff continues to go the way you would like it to. Here, let's see if we can't get a little bit more of our texture into this. Also, letting that mix with what's already on here, because reasons, right? So there we go. Everybody, please check out Megan's link. Go check out Megan's link. You know what? I'm just going to use also some of that brilliant yellow pale because, well, reasons. A little bit of brilliant yellow pale there. Like so. And again, trying to put a little bit of this texture in there. And that was, remember, it was a multi-phase thing. We would put down some, we would take a blending brush to kind of tone down the texture a bit, and then we would hit another color worth of texture on it, tone that down. So that's why we're kind of doing almost like a little bit of a stippling approach here instead of just more of the smooth type of brush strokes, I guess, that you might normally anticipate. Again, just trying to simulate a little bit of texture there. Hey, Super Lazy, nice to see you again. Let me see. Well, there's the 1, 2, 3. I think I'm sorry. I think there's 4 miniature versions that we've done so far, and then there was the one bust. So I guess if you count the bust, that would be 5 different Gandalfs. Yeah, and there's still more to come because there's also the Arena Studio version, and then there's a couple of more GW versions that are yet to be painted. So there will be more Gandalfs yet. I think I've got at least one other Gandalf the Grey. And there's Gandalf the White on foot, the one that goes with the plastic one here. So yeah, we still have him on foot to go. So that would probably be the first one, I would say. Now, again, I don't know if I'll get a chance to prep that Sauron figure for tomorrow. I kind of doubt that a lot. Again, just with the way things are here, I kind of doubt that. See, look at this. As the lighter stuff mixes, I don't even need the blending brush, right? See, there's still a little bit of texture there, but yet it also blends at the same time. So yeah, that's just your basic white Sculpey right there. Now these are the bricks that I made. Now you can see some of the bricks there. That's just a flat sheet of the white Sculpey right there. And here's again, this is the newer plastic version right here. And we're gonna also do these Orthanc lines as well on that, because of course we want to. Yeah, this is a little bit of the brilliant yellow pale mixed with some of the fast matte white. We're going to try working out that fast matte white, see what's possible with that. What can it do? Maybe there's certain things it doesn't do very well. Also get a chance to see just how fast that dries, especially on this one, since there's so much of it going to be on the miniature here. Thanks, Super Lazy. And of course, Super Lazy, here's our landscape of Middle Earth from last night. Boom. There it is. That was very fun. Painting up some straight out of Mordor right there. Some Barad-dûr. Because, well, you know, Barad-dûr. I've got to figure out which of the 3D printing folks does some stuff that would really be good for Blackguard of Barad-dûr. I don't really think anybody does right now. I did take and actually did a video on it. The Dvale orcs. I think they called them super orcs or something like that. And I seem to remember putting the shields on them with the green stuff. Yeah. Tried filming that video in the heat of summer. That didn't work out so well. Yeah, that did not end up going very well at all. It was 86 degrees in the house or something like that as I was trying to film that. And that just didn't go well. What's going to work out here is, again, trying to put some texture on there. Again, with that sort of stippling type of brush stroke. That's very important there. And at each and every single one of these brush strokes, it picks up some more of the existing color underneath, and it just starts to mix it together. Now remember, we tinted this a bit more towards the yellow by taking some of the Indian yellow, mixing that with that fast matte white. Boy, I'm really going to have to get used to that name, because I'm so used to saying the quick dry white, which again, that doesn't have alkyds in it, so not going to dry as fast as this. This does have the alkyds in it. Now, of course, as we've, at least what I've noticed here, is this doesn't quite have the contents under pressure of the Gamlen Silver, which also has alkyds in it. I just thought, well, maybe that's a property of stuff that has alkyds in it. There is one other tube of paint that somebody sent. I think it was a phthalo green that also had alkyds in it, but I only ever, I think, used it once, so I'd have to try that again to see, are there actually, does it shoot out of the tube the way the silver stuff does? Here, why don't we, couple more lights along there. We'll go back to the beard, lighten that up some more, but I want to maybe get some of the radiant blue into that beard again, just to make it less warm than the robes and such. Oh, and by the way, this is 40 minutes in. Yeah, this is all of 40 minutes right here. And you're just going to see a lot of this, and of course we're going to come in with different colors, maybe even a little bit of green in some areas. There's actually, is that some tassels right there? I think so. Yeah, Super Lazy, it's that Gamlen Silver, and it's stuff that we have used in the past. I think last time I used it was probably on the Mandalorians. Also, our Necrons. Yeah, on our Necron videos. I think we used some there too. I don't know if I needed that to be quite so light, but whatever. See how that works out. And again, our latest chapter studies here. the blackened steel of this iron hands, that was done with the iridescent pearl white, so metallic oil paint mixed in with all of our other usual oil colors. Hey, Velfera. Gee whiz, Velfer. Thanks for stopping by. Oh gosh, when's I think I sent you a message probably about an hour-ish ago. I figured that you were off asleep, and sorry. It's just kind of how things. I mean, this is nuts, right, Velfera? I mean, was it 6 weeks or so, and all of a sudden, boom. So sorry to hear that. And neither of us has really wished the other one any good fortune, and yet that still happens. I mean, are we going to have to go opposite here? Yeah, Green Fairy. It was really wild. What was he painting? He was painting some kind of a cypress tree, swampy scene or something like that. And I know he's related some story about, I guess when he was younger, he had a pet alligator. I guess apparently it was only a foot long, but he had a pet alligator, I suppose. So yeah, Velfera again, just really sorry that that just keeps piling on, right? Well, there was multiple things there. That wasn't just the one thing. That was piling on top of the other thing. I think we're caught up there. So that's why we're kind of just sticking with something that's going to be. Wow, they really did change this one around, right? All of the sculpted stuff here on his cloak, where they kind of don't have any of that going on the older sculpt there. Now, Velfera, gosh, my hope is, my best case scenario is that maybe I can start streaming at 8 or 8:30 tomorrow night. That's kind of a best case scenario. Something tells me that's not going to work out, but maybe it will. All right, Velfera. Well, thanks again. Really appreciate it. Oh, and geez, Velfera, before you head out. So there it was. This was tricky, I have to say, and the early phases of that were, I mean, as messy as you've seen things before. The early phases of that were even more messy. Hey there, Dano. Nice to see you again, Dano. So, Dano, nice to see you. I was just flashing the image. Now, of course, I don't know how the photos came out because I had to use the phone because the stupid camera, the batteries just all of a sudden died in that, and there was no way I could get some new ones. Wow, look at this. This is going to be interesting to see the blending brush take away some of this texture right here. Oh, thanks, Velfera. So, Dano, the dread there was looking really good. I just get all those panels that you had shaded, right? The light to dark stuff going on, the dark at the top, the mid-tone, and the light at the bottom. All that stuff, well, like we were talking about, that would have taken a lot longer with the acrylics. I mean, we've both done it. We've both done that before. That would have taken a long time. And, oh, Dano, the other discussion that we were having here was about the durability of the oils, because I was just asking Green Fairy and Grumdy if they've noticed, like I have, that the oils are more resilient. Look at this. Huh? See how there's a lot of texture there? Now there's less. It's not gone. It's not gone by any stretch of the imagination, but look at that. There we are. See, that just tones it down a bit. Doesn't wipe it out. And of course, Dano, you want to post your links to your, well, to your basing stuff, but no, I don't think you have that up on Instagram yet. Your Dreadnought there. But obviously, that's something you'll have to start posting links to as well once you get that put up on your Instas. Let's go back to our texturization here again. Oh, Dano, we're using that fast matte again here. I thought of all the things that could really demonstrate or at least show just how fast the fast matte white actually dries slash sets. And that's something like our Saruman here. And this is the old metal figure. Don't know how far back this goes. My guess is 2003 at the latest, potentially 2002. Got not sure. Look at all that nifty little texture right there. Oh, and as the darker color starts to blend in with the other stuff on the brush, you see that's not quite as light as anymore. It just starts to tone itself down. Don't really have to work so hard at it, do I? It's the easy button for oils, that's for sure. Oh, here, one second. Hey, Steela, how you doing? Crazy more resilient. Well, Steela probably knows, can say that too. So everybody, please give Steela Rebel a follow. Steela, how are you doing? So Steela, we just showed the 2D art from last night. A little bit of Barrador, lots of object source lighting on it. And everybody, please give Steela a follow. And Steela, actually, speaking of links and all that, if you've got some Insta links and everything else of your latest, on the Onis and your other commission pieces there. Steela also streams the oil painting, so definitely everybody should follow Steela Rebel. Sorry, Steela, if you want to shout yourself out, that would be great, because Armored Wolf, he's going to be busy on weekends, and now it's one of those kind of days. Yeah, Steela, you know, what actually kind of was more of a bummer was these brushes. These were the new ones that I tried. The smaller ones I can sort of use in some ways here, but the bigger one, you saw, remember, it was about 9 minutes in, I just said this is pointless and just literally chucked it off to the side. Yeah, I didn't place it off to the side. I just threw it off to the side of me there. Said that's just not doing it. And Steela, not sure if you saw. So this is that Kieran. This is from Lost Kingdoms right here. That was very fun using the Prussian blue and the Naphthol. And that fast matte white is really, I mean, it dries fast. Now this was dry just a matter of, I think it was maybe 8-9 hours when I touched it afterwards. It seemed to be very dry. This could be even more dry because we're using actually more of the fast matte white with it. There we go. There, everybody please give Steela Rebel a follow. Actually, I'm going to maybe see if I can't move this down one more scotch. There we go. That's going to make it a little easier for me to get it underneath the magnifier there. So the studio rebuild, that's pretty much on permanent hold. Who knows when that's going to happen now. I wish I could have had a chance to do that. I do appreciate everybody that contributed to getting all the different pieces of equipment. I still will, I mean, maybe I'll try and do what I can around the periphery of that. Fast matte in a couple of the areas of the hair here, and if I feel like the shadow areas are a little bit too dark, we can come back in there, maybe with some more of the radiant colors to lighten those up a smidge. Speaking of lighting here, let's get the top of his head a bit lighter here. We just did it with some of the there we go. Look at the difference one side to the next. Let's do the other side here. See what happens. Oh, that's right. There was a big old mold line going through that. Actually, Steela, before you came in, we were having a conversation about the durability of the oils, and well, it's pretty much confirmed, not just through me, but several other folks too, that the oils, you want a very ding-proof miniature, well then paint it with the oils, because the oils are just so darn rugged, and that's before any sort of varnish on them. Still now, it's he does a lot of songs, if I remember right. He does a lot of song and dance numbers in that in the fellowship book there. Although I think Treebeard does the same thing in in the Two Towers book. I didn't realize how many chapters he might have spent on Tom Bombadil. Or maybe he just didn't really spend that much. It just seems like it's several chapters on Tom Bombadil. And there's some folks that really, 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 really like Tom Bombadil. Now, of course, there is a Tom Bombadil miniature. There's also a Goldberry figure. I actually painted the Goldberry figure. And you rub your finger. Ah, there we go. Okay, so Dano, it really is the case. It really is the case that the oils are just a heck of a lot more rugged. Oh, and by the way, we're just a little over an hour into this. Just to remind folks where we're at here. Just a little bit over an hour into this. Yeah, Grundy, and oh gosh, that's right. Yeah, I didn't think of that too, Grundy, that as you get into the higher quality oil paints, that they're probably also going to be that much more rugged too. Geez, yeah. Should have thought about that as well. Here, I'm just going to see if I can't lighten up a little bit of that. Some of the hair along the side here. Let me get back to the... again, that is the fast matte white there. Like so. Ah, Lyndon, how you doing, Lyndon? Yeah, Lyndon, I actually made well, I mean, this was way, way back in the day. This is probably 2003 or something. I did or no, 2004. I think that was the year of dioramas. But I did a diorama with Goldberry in it. I think with like a table and some candles or whatever. But never actually painted Tom Bombadil. I think I might actually have a second Tom Bombadil sitting around. Now, I never even had a chance to do our Eowyn here with the whole glittering caves thing. I thought maybe I'll try and film a video on that or something if I can. Yeah, Steela, I mean, doesn't he like sing the barrel whites or something like that? He doesn't just command them, he sings them away. At least I think that's how that goes, right? So yeah, the again, not trying to just say, oh, acrylics this or that or whatever, but we're all noticing, right, that the oils just have more durability than the acrylics. Now that we've all been using them for years, well, I mean, for me, years, but actually, Stila, I think, is it about 18, 19 months since you've been using the oils, or is it actually a little bit longer than that? Is it more like 20 months or something? Well, it could be a lot longer than that, and I'm just not remembering. These these days right now, my memory is totally shot, so I don't remember much of anything. I want to throw some lighter there, like so. That works. Grab our other Saruman. Now we're going to try and get some other tones in this. How's about a little smidge of the... Yeah, that's our asphaltum right there. And let's go back into here. Not so much to make darker textures into that. It's just to get a different color. A little bit of that kind of reddish brown there. So it is 2 years this summer. Okay. What was the... yeah, I haven't used too much in the way of scale 75 acrylics. Very, very few colors. I've used a few more Vallejos. Uh, I wonder how GW does to the wipe it away test. Wonder how GW stands up to the rigors of gaming, which would be hilarious if the oils also outdid the GW paints in that department. So congrats there, Stila. 2 years. And Stila, it's kind of interesting that I think the Onis were some of the first things that you were painting on stream, and those are still some of the things that you end up painting an awful lot on stream. Now, of course, different types, right? Different sculptors, different sizes too. And Stila, yeah, if you want to throw some Insta links or whatever into the chat, of course. And oh yeah, Grundy, if you wanted to toss, and Dano, you want to toss your links back in there now that we have some more folks watching. I know that was very early on before. So yeah, if you wanted to throw some of your Insta links there into the chat so that people can check those out. See if I can't get a little bit more of my reddish brown into that here. Well, I'm not sure how reddish brown it is. That's Terra Rosa. Well, Terra Rosa is kind of an orangey reddish brown, I suppose. Oh, thank you so much. Actually, I could have used some aspirins because I started off with a major headache and it just ain't going away. Oh, yeah, only the Onis, right, Stila? Yeah, Stila, that's Stila and the Tiny Stein and lots of Onis. I think some of the first ones you did were the Artisan Guild Onis, and then, well, I'm sure there's plenty of other sculptors that are working on those too, so you have a never-ending supply of Onis. A little more of that yellow in here too. You know what? I just might do it here. Let me grab a little bit of the blue here, sort of. Let's see what happens. We're close to our floor. Oh, actually, speaking of the floor, actually, I have to get out the gold here and try and put that on the floor as well. Now that we're doing this. I don't want this to be too light, of course. It's kind of in shadow. Alright, let me see if I can here. I'm going to try and basically do that that pattern right there. So I'm just going to have them over here where I can see them. And then this, of course, is our homemade gold right there. Using the Green Stuff World powdered pigments. Alright, good enough. Let's see what we can do here with this to sketch this in. Let's have it go this way, perhaps. And then one that's clear of him. We have to make it an actual angle here, though. That just about does it. Okay. Let's come back this way now. Straighten that out just a smidge. Metalovich, how are you doing? Nice to see you again. We are reprising. Where's our other Saruman here? So this is the new plastic Saruman that we painted up on stream. There's actually a version of that on the YouTube channel. And now we've got the metal version. This is the classic Saruman here. Good old classic Saruman. Now I want to see if I can't have this come out right here. Yeah. There. Use an actual gold metallic oil paint. That's hilarious. It actually almost looks like a Freemason symbol or something. Not intended, just kind of working out that way. And now I'm going to have one that goes straight this way. That attaches to this one maybe. This way. Clean up that line. And then one more here, I suppose. Have it come out this way. And then we've got another line that we'll just have parallel to that one. Hey, Dark Dan again. Yeah, this, well, hopefully I typed it out right. Hopefully we did. And of course, well, Saruman, he doesn't want to meet this guy, does he? He's like, I'll give you Saruman. Where's that Saruman guy? Yeah, I'll take him out. Don't be hasty. Gonna be hasty all over him. So that's, then along comes, it's like, whew, is he gone? That dude's nuts, man. Him and his other weird, wacky tree friends, man. It's like, what the heck? Messing up my house. So, Dirk Dan again, nice to see you again. And of course, well, there it is. There's the big evil tower with all the glowy stuff down there, and our little mist in front of Mount Doom there. Hey, Bina. Nice to see you again, Bina. Oh, did I do? Let me look at this again. No, we didn't do that. Okay, so good to know. Good to know. We might darken down some of these, but what I am going to do here is I'm just going to use this. So we're using more of that fast matte white again, because I just want to see how fast is that really actually dry. Now here I'm taking some of the black spinel. We'll mix that with the indigo, and we're just going to try and darken up some of these things. So Bina and Dark Dan again, nice to see you guys again. It's another one of our late night starts. It wasn't quite midnight when I started. Well, we started an hour and 22 minutes ago, which I guess it is a little bit. I think it was about maybe quarter after midnight-ish or so. Maybe it's later than no. It's it was still about 11:40 something. It wasn't quite midnight yet. Sorry, not doing the math very well right now. So here it is. So it's just a Gamblin right here. It's the Gamblin Fast Matte. They also have the Quick Dry White. That's what the one that you see me using all the time. Bina, it was very, very simple, Bina. It was just the indigo down here and basically Van Dyke Brown up there. That was pretty much the extent of it. It was about as simple of a pre-glaze as you could possibly get. I just, with everything here today, I needed to do something as simple as possible for the brain. And I thought this would kind of fit the bill, and it does. It's definitely nice and simple. I'm going to cut some of that. Same over here. Again, that's that darker indigo mix, and we're going to leave some of the light here because, well, we want to have that cloak sort of reflecting on it, right? Probably will go in there with a little bit more too. So yeah, Bina, it was a super simple pre-glaze. Very, very easy. just indigo on the base, and I think there might have been a little bit of asphaltum that worked its way onto maybe around the skin tone or something, but other than that, very, very simple. But I hope everything's going really good there, Bina. There's got to be another, there's another one of my blending brushes right here. So you can see it right over here. We're just going to do that. Same over here. Like we do. Same over here. Yeah, okay, so we can kind of see there's a little bit of a lighter reflection around them. I'm going to see if we can maybe do a little more of that. I don't know, maybe this will be too much. But I think it's worth a try here because the floor is supposed to be super reflective, super polished, even though it's dark. So let me see if we can't get a bit of reflection here. Same over here. There too. Where did that blending brush that I just had in my hand? Okay, I think this must be it. Because, yeah, that's a little too hard of an edge there. So we're just going to take our blending brush, tug away at the edge of that, smooth it out. We're just doing a little bit of tap, tap, tap here, by the way. Not doing an actual brush stroke, just literally tapping at it like some Morse code. And I think, yeah, see how that kind of looks now, like more like a reflection there. Let's see. All right, well, Metalovich, thanks for stopping by as long as you could, and you have a good one. So Bina, I took, let's see, Brilliant Yellow Pale, mixed that with some of the fast matte, and of course it mixed with a lot of the asphaltum, and then the whatchamacallit, Van Dyke Brown pre-glaze. Most of the fast matte actually is in his hair. You can see where it's cooler. There was some Indian yellow that worked its way in there to tint it. Then we also took, I might be able to see it over here down on the palette there. We took the asphaltum, mixed that with the fast matte, and that sort of created like a very swarthy skin tone kind of color. We've been using that on here. So not as much. There's a mix of the fast matte in the robe, but not quite so much. I just wanted a little bit on there, mostly just to see if it would help dry that out a little bit faster, because this thing, sorry, this thing really did dry very, very fast here. Now let's see what we can do here for the eyes on this thing. How's about indigo, Van Dyke Brown mixed together? Let's see what we can do with this. This is an old metal figure here. This goes back to it's got to be at least 2003, possibly even earlier. Could be 2002. Again, it's so long ago. I think I already did paint one of these way back in the day. I mean, as when something like this was actually a new figure. So yeah, we've got. So what we're trying to do is, everybody loves texture these days, right? That's what all the cool kids like. So we're trying to do the same sort of texture here that we did on the new one here. Trying to do that on the old-timey one. So it should be interesting to see ultimately how that ends up. And of course, well, there's our floor. Like in the reflection, I might go a little touch more where on his feet there, or around his the bottom edge of that rope. Might just do a little bit there. On the skin now, as dark as it is, I gotta get me some grays and some greens into that. So I think that's where this is gonna come into play. It's a little bit of our radiant green. That's a grayish, greenish gray if you ever saw one. That'll go into the skin tone here. Maybe also not have the nose be quite so bright. Don't want him to be Sauron, the red-nosed Maiar, or something like that. Or a Starry. Probably, yeah, I might have to go a little bit lighter on some parts of the cheekbones here, maybe. See what that's going to do. So, yeah, Bina, I just wanted to see if the fast matte white, how much of it does it take to really have a big influence and cause things to dry faster? Does it just take a tiny bit of it? Or do you have to really pile in some of that fast matte to really have it make a difference? Let me see if I can't. I think I'm actually going to look at my reference there real quick. Now, Bina, do you have the big giant screen going on? It just occurred to me that maybe, what was it, a 55-inch screen or something like that? It's got to be wild. Now, of course, Bina, like we say all the time, in reality, you wouldn't see this much texture on fabric at full scale, much less him just being an inch and an eighth tall, or however much that works out to be. But of course, we all love texture now, right? That's what all the cool kids are doing. So I'm watching on the 20 or the 55-inch screen. I thought so. That's got to be ginormous. Even our big screen TV, that's almost twice as big, I think. That's pretty darn close to twice the size of it. Now this should perhaps have a little bit of hint of light there, because they try to hint at some of the pattern on that. There's not a whole bunch of it there. Now this is more of the fast matte white. I'm going to try and thin that down. So where are we at? It's a 1 hour and 33 minutes in. And now I could really start to play around with some of the textures here. And then, of course, if I ever feel like the texture is just too pronounced in an area, out comes the blending brush, and we'll just tone that stuff down. You don't want to do that right away. That's another one of those don't be hasty moments. Let that stuff have a chance to set as long as possible. Just down here, even though I know that should be light, I just hope if I can get a little bit of, or it's supposed to be darker, right, being down in shadow, but if I can make that a little bit lighter, it might stand out that much more from the floor. Also thinking about letting a little more like a right there. See this? Yeah, here you can see it. Also, same thing, a little bit of a stippling type of a brush stroke there. So now that should look like there's a bit of a reflection there. So Bina, this is the 18-0 liner brush from Princeton. Now it's weird. I don't know what the 18-0 really stands for. typically, right, you've got the 0, double 0, quadruple 0, all that kind of stuff. I don't know how the 18-0, because the spotter brushes were 20 zeros or something like that. Yeah, the spotters were 20-0. So that might just have to do more with the length of the bristles than it does the actual shape of them, right? I guess. I don't know, maybe there must be something we can Google or whatever just to the code behind the shape of the brushes, or the, what's an 18-0 versus a 20-0, or if it's really nothing that makes any sense to us and it's just some kind of weird industry thing. Because basically this is like one of those quadruple 0 type brushes, but obviously on a much, I just don't like those spotter brushes. Just not a fan of those. Oh, and Bina, of course, we've got our, either tomorrow or the next day, this is our latest chapter studies video right here. So basically black and steel, because I'd never actually filmed a video on the black and steel so much. So a little bit of a video on the black and steel. Now let me see. Less inclined to see, because the robe is so close to the floor there, that's why I did that. A little less inclined to do the bright stuff there, so I don't think we're going to do that. This, however, there actually is a little bit of a design right here, and I didn't really want to outline that per se. Let me look at the old one here. There was okay. Well, boy, that really stands out on the new one. Sorry, this is the new one. It's the old new one. Because this is the old one, but it's now the new one because it's the latest one that we painted. That's where my brain is right now. So I guess we have to come in here with a little bit more of our dark than, yeah, not much. How's about the asphaltum maybe in right along our edge here? Guess a little bit of the Van Dyke brown. Again, not too much of it here. Just a little bit. And then even here, I don't want it to be an outline, right? So you could say I kind of spread that out a little more. The hair, of course, this is not digitally sculpted like the other stuff, so it's going to be a bit more haphazard, sculpting-wise. And then, of course, it's cast in metal. And, of course, there was a mold line that ran right through the center of the hair. If I did want to fix that up, if you want to say it that way, could just take the heavy gloss gel and quite literally paint some the hairline back onto it. Might also try to get a little bit more of the lighter tone back in here, like so. I think on the sleeves I might have gone about as light as you can go there. I think so. What about his knuckles here? And then, of course, his staff being metal. Not only were there mold lines running through it, but oof, that's a little bit rough here. So we're going to have to start working on this, see if we can really get this thing into shape somehow. I'll probably come back in with some darks as well. Yeah, I don't think we have our darkest darks necessarily on the staff here. Maybe just some of the spinel there, the black spinel. Top edge of this. Top edge of that. And a bit more there. Take away the gold that slipped over the edge there a little bit. Same right there and over here. Now I don't have, you know what, I might grab some, there's the iridescent pearl white. So this is, again, that's all that I used on that one Space Marine there, was just the iridescent pearl white. Oh, let's get that indigo out of the brush first. There's a little Indian yellow. Mix that with that iridescent pearl. Oof, there's a bright gold for you. Man, that is way brighter. Let's see what this will do on this base here. I think it's been a good 15-ish minutes or so, maybe 20, since we first put this on here. Guess I want to go a little lighter. Also maybe a little thicker. And let's see what happens now that this is thicker. Does it oh yeah, see that? I think that does actually stick on there better, being thicker. Sometimes, what do we always say? That thicker paint can stick to the thinner paint, but also vice versa. Lighten that up here too. Something like that. This line here, just going to try and fix that up. There we go. Using that little bit of a stippling type of brush stroke here. Like that. Yeah. And I think that's about what we're going to do here with our... Yeah, there we are. Good enough. I might come back with a little more indigo around the edge of that, but we'll wait first, though. You're talking about his beard and trying to get a little bit of the... some of this blue here, maybe even a little touch of the indigo onto his beard. We have some of that reddish brown that we put on there. See if I can get this in some of the shadow areas of the hair. Because when I look at the reference pictures, his hair in some ways it's almost kind of translucent in a way. Now I realize we'll have to paint one of those. Was it Saruman of many colors? Oh, thanks Grumdy. And Green Fairy Studios, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. And you have a good night there, Grumdy. Thank you so much for joining, keeping me company. I really do appreciate that. And like I say, tomorrow I'll try and shoot you off a message there, and sort of fill you in on all the stuffs. So thanks, Green Fairy. Appreciate that. Sorry if I thought I had caught that earlier, but maybe I didn't. So sorry. Alright, a little bit more of our light there. Okay. Okay, thanks. I was like, I thought I did. Maybe I missed it. More of that light over here. A little bit lighter along the edge of his cloak. I might just see what happens here. Again, I kind of wanted that lighter light reflecting where the cloak is closest to the ground. Maybe we'll do that over here too. I'm gonna grab this. Right, as you can see, that's kind of a very harsh line there. All we have to do is a little bit of tap, tap, tap. No longer a harsh line anymore, is it? We'll do the same over here. Good enough. Now this here, also going to take a blending brush to that, take some of the texture away. there. And I think we might actually throw, you know what? I think we're doing it on the other side here. We're going to try and get some of that darker texture in a few places here. Let's see if we can do that. Now let me just look at this here. Okay. I'm just going to move this cord real quick, because the last time that happened, it pressed a button and killed the stream. So we don't want that to happen again. Where's that asphaltum? Maybe just more of the asphaltum. Okay, actually put in a little bit of the Van Dyke Brown tool. And we'll see if that's going to be too dark there for some of our shadow area texture. Alright, Green Fairy, you have a good one too. Thanks so much. Thanks for keeping me company. Appreciate that. Sorry there was a late start. Like I said, hoping for maybe 8:30 or 9 or something like that tomorrow. Well, today. Well, looky here. While we're not painting we're painting a tiny wizard. We have Tiny Warrior Studio. How you doing? Thank you so much, Tiny Warrior Studio, for that raid. Appreciate that. And thank you so much for the follow, Gretchen. Appreciate that. Hello, little hobbits. I spark my ganja. He's like, oh, look, it's Gandalf, the fool. It's like, yeah, well, at least I don't have a bunch of trees walking around stomping on my front lawn. It's like, well, yeah, but not in the tower. It's like, oh, you give him some time. So thank you so much for that follow, Gretchen. Appreciate that. Hey, Inquisitor Coyote, nice to see you too. And thanks, Green Fairy Studio. Appreciate that. So everybody, if you can, please give Tiny Warrior Studio a follow. Tiny Warriors, I know you don't have any pictures of what you're working on right now because, well, you were just streaming. But if you have any work in progress stuff in a Discord or Instagram or anything like that, you want people to see it, feel free to post that. Hey, Moe, nice to see you. So this is the classic metal version right here. We started on this less than 2 hours ago. Yeah, less than 2 hours ago. This was just primer. This is the newer plastic version. We painted this one up on stream, and now we're kind of adapting this to what we did here. Now, obviously, there's a lot more sculpted detail on this one than there is the old metal one. Oh, sure thing. Sure thing. Here, let's just start to get some of those darker texture bits in here. There we go. Now, of course, our latest version of our Landscapes of Middle-earth was last night. We were painting a little bit of Barad-dûr right here. Before that was, here we go. Look at that, Midgeceld, the Golden Hall. Before that was the Argonath here. There you go. And everybody, please check out the link by Tiny Warrior Studio. So don't just give Tiny Warrior Studio a follow. Also, be sure to give Tiny Warriors a follow on Instagram as well. So Tiny Warriors, what were you working on stream? And again, everybody, please check out the link by Tiny Warriors. And thanks so much for that raid. Appreciate that. Now, and there's a Discord link too, so please, everybody, go check those things out. Go check those things out, and then, of course, give Tiny Warriors a follow so that you can be ready when Tiny Warriors goes live next. Yeah, actually, Tiny Warriors, when do you normally stream there? So folks can also kind of keep their heads up there for when you might be streaming next. I just going to gaming some Tomb Raider, and then painted some Necrons. Oh gosh, do we ever? No, I don't have my Necrons. We've painted, haven't painted any Necrons on stream yet, but I've done a bunch of painting videos with the Necrons. And of course, for the folks that are new here, all this stuff is in oils, by the way. Yeah, start to finish with the oils, not oil washes or whatever. This is all start to finish with the oils. And of course, it works. Well, we do a lot of object source lighting, of course. Here's another one. These are all 3D prints right here. So, and this is also using our homemade fluorescent oil paint. So lots of freehand there. And now, of course, here with some busts, right? That's our homemade fluorescent magenta right there. So Tuesday evenings and 1 or 2 days of the weekends. And we like freehand here. As you can see, we did a whole squad of these guys right here because it was just so much fun to do that with again, all the shields and everything. Very fun to do that. Oh, Lakes Tiny Warrior. Here's another example of some freehand here. So doing the fancy tattoos, all of this, again, painted with the oils. You can actually, there's a YouTube vid on this, on how to do the tattoos. Here again, some more of our object source lighting. Again, all done with the oils, all wet into wet. And oh, here's our, here's another. I think we painted this one up just a few days ago, right? Yeah, not that long ago. This might have been our Monday stream, maybe. I'm thinking. So again, everybody, please give Tiny Warrior that follow. Now let's see. So I stream it twice a week in the evening. Yeah, Tiny Warriors. Well, I haven't been able to keep track of the AFL. I know that the Bulldogs weren't off to a great start this season. Well, after what happened to them last season in the grand final there, it seemed like, I guess Melbourne was still off to another really good start. And I think even Brisbane too, which is a little bit of a change from the last, I don't know, 10 years or so. Now, of course, it does still seem like, actually what was, well, the last time I checked weeks ago, it was weird to see the Carlton Blues not being down at the bottom of the ladder there, because that's kind of been their spot. Oh yeah, Hawthorn, I think, was also, and GWS were down at the bottom there. Just because there was a bunch of folks here in the U.S. that I converted to Aussie rules, and of course they jumped on to West Coast, even the Dockers. They jumped on to Hawthorn, of course, Collingwood. My wife and I, of course, we didn't choose Geelong. We chose St. Kilda, and of course the Doggies for me. Well, I guess the Doggies in 2016, it worked out okay. Not so much, although, I mean, it was nice just to get back to it, I guess. Okay, Tiny. Now I can tell you where, yeah, that's, people still wonder how the heck we got hooked on that. It actually goes back to, I think, 2008, when TV first went digital around here. And we had a second public TV station, and they actually would rebroadcast games basically 1 week late. And that's how we happened to see it. And I just always enjoyed it ever since. Obviously enjoy it more when you're in the top 8. Although I've watched it long enough to see several teams kind of go through good times and bad times. Now here we're going to keep using, again, this is all wet into wet here. It's all wet into wet, so if we feel like the texture is too intense in one area, we'll just take that blending brush and we can just wipe some of that away. Now, of course, every single brush stroke that I do here is going to be picking up some of the existing color. So what will we have to do? We'd have to go back to the palette, get some more. Now, the palette here, you can see there's not much mixing going on there. This is where the mixing happens, because with the oils, the miniature becomes your palette. That's where all the time savings comes in. That's where it just makes everything easier. And of course, we've been having a little bit of a discussion from all the other folks in the linseed brotherhood that yes, the oils are far more durable than acrylic paints, especially for those of us that use our miniatures for playing games. That's kind of important. Hey, Art of Michael, yes, it definitely yield, plop, and push, right? Now, I guess push and plop, that is a whole nother thing right there. That's something different, but that generally depends on your diet, I suppose. I'm gonna see if I can't. Oh, and this is the other advantage of the oils, right? The oil is literally thinner than water, so you can get those smaller brush strokes. Also, it's easier on your brushes for several reasons. There's a Landrast. Landrast, how you doing? So, Landrast, sorry I didn't get a chance to shoot you a message. I wasn't sure when I was going to be able to stream tonight. Tomorrow's probably going to be a bit random too. I was hoping that it could be maybe more like 6:30 or something, but I think best guess is really more like 8:30 or 9, I guess. So Landrast, I know you guys did the movie thing last night. Hopefully that was fun. Here, let me get a little more light over there. Well, looky here. We have ourselves a master sommelier. We have Paintwater sommeliers. Paintwater, how the heck are you doing? Nice to see you too. Thanks so much for the raid. Well, Tiny Warrior, if you go back and watch some of the early, actually you can kind of see it here even in a way where it's something called the pre-glaze, where we just slap a bunch of darker, more intense colors on there, and then we sort of wipe it away here with the makeup sponges, and then we'll take brushes like this right here, something like a filbert brush, and then we'll almost do what's tantamount to a dry brush over the top. So Paintwater, how the heck are you doing? Got M-Tellers over here and playing some computer game. Oh, that's cool, Landrast. That sounds very good. Because again, let's say here, right? There's no point in doing a bunch of layers because we don't want that much paint on there. So basically, I would take a much lighter color, plop that on there, and then we would take a brush like this that has no paint on it, and then just sort of mix those, push that paint around. Because that's another key with the oils is to have less paint on there, not more paint. Oh, no problem, Tiny Warriors. So Paintwater, you know the usual. You want to post, you got a link or something like that to your Instas. You want to post that. That would be very cool so people can see what you've been working on lately. And thank you so much for that raid. Appreciate that. Now, of course, when you have the larger, more open surfaces, here's a good example of that. Oh, here, we can even use this one here. So a lot of the skin tone here, we didn't mix any skin tone. We just took a color, plopped it on there, and then you got here stuff like this freehand, right? We just put a bunch of spots on there. And instead of having a bunch of hard edges, we took a brush that had no paint on it, and then we just sort of faded those by mixing them with the paint that's already there. Here we just took a little bit of magenta, slapped it on there, pushed that around. Same thing with the green here. So that way we didn't have to deal with lots and lots of layering and different colors. It was the same thing here, right? I think we only spent about 5 hours or so painting this, maybe 5.5 max from start to finish. Lots of bright, intense colors as well. Hey, AD, nice to see you. If everybody would please give AD Creations a follow too, that would be fantastic. So AD, I know that you were live the other day. It's been unfortunately not the greatest week in the world, so I have not been able to catch anybody's stream. It's really a bummer because I used to like doing that. What do you mean used to? I would like to. I just don't get to do that anymore. Oh, wow, we never get any, did get any of our darker, basically a little bit of the texture pattern down in here. Well, AD, I think maybe I'll send you a message or something on that. It was just, yeah, today, well, Wednesday was kind of rough, and then results from Wednesday came in today. So it hasn't been the coolest week in the world, for sure. Because we'll probably be doing another one of these little bars right here. I think I'll probably be starting up one of those at tomorrow's stream. Whenever we get to do that, not quite sure when that'll be. Here, why don't we, there we go, separation there. So again, this is the old metal version here, which means not as many little details as the plastic one. Oh, thanks, AD, appreciate that. And again, everybody please give AD Creations a follow. So AD, how goes it on that really large piece of artwork that you were working, well, both of the projects? I know you had two different things going on, and I know that there had to be a little bit of rescue work on the one piece there, and it seemed like the rescue work went okay. And again, Paintwater, if you want to post a link to your Instas or Discord, that would be just fine. Now, let's see if I can't bring up a little bit more of the... Try this, the radiant blue here. I've actually been putting a lot of that into the hair. And it's interesting because it looks really light because we were, I think, pretty successful at creating enough dark in the hair. With not too much, though, where the shadows are a dark brown. And then we also came in there. We're also using the quick dry white here. No, sorry. That's what we usually use. We're using the fast matte because I want to see just, well, what kind of impact is it going to have on something like this, where obviously we're going to be using a little bit more of it. So the Sea Serpent was saved and now working on the Cthulhu Tobacco Box. So AD, if you want to post links, if you have any Insta links to those or Discord or whatever, you know that it's always cool to be seeing that your stuff. But that Sea Serpent, that is no small piece right there. So I'm really glad that you were able to get that back in order again. Okay, let me see if I can't just a little smidge. There we go. This also makes things like banner poles and spear points and all that stuff, or spear shafts, so much easier to paint because we can quite literally just sort of dry brush some darker or lighter colors over the top of them, and it's really easy to make that round look. It's so easy to do that. So switching back and forth is a little bit of a mind bender there, a culture shock, as they say. But finishing off the first one. Here, I'm going to try and throw a couple more of my lighter dots in here again. This is that fast matte white. And thanks also to Landrest for shooting that over this way. Really appreciate that. I want to see here if I can get there. Okay, that one worked. What about this one here? Again, it's an old metal figure, so there's a little bit of mischief that's going on there in some of the details. Well, AD, I've pretty much forgotten everything the last few days, my own name and a bunch of other stuff, so I can certainly understand that. I mean, even in the best of times, I can barely remember what day it is. That's been going on for a while. Again, a couple more dots of our light right here, just to work that in. It's happening along here. Want to make sure there's a little bit of a turn in that. Oh, thanks, Paintwater. Hey, Bithron. So yeah, Landress. This we also used it on the painting last night too, and I don't know how I mean, we got some of it, I think, more in the cool areas, not so much where we have all of the warmest stuff. Probably not too much there. So, hey, Bithron, how you doing? Nice to see you, Bithron. We're painting up basically a newer version of our Saruman here. Well, a new version of the old figure. So this is actually from at least 2003, could be even older than that. Because this is the old metal version, Bithron, so it could be, I guess, 2002 perhaps. And everybody, please check out the link that AD just posted, and again, please give AD Creations that follow, as well as Paintwater and Tiny Warrior Studio. And sorry, the Armored Wolf, he's off doing that show again because it's the weekend, so we're kind of on our lonesome here. Yeah, well, I hope that the camo pattern works out really well, Bitron. I mean, those can be fun. They can be a little tricksy. All right, here we didn't really get much of our darker texture up there because as I put this lighter stuff on, yeah, we're gonna head back over here, over here where the asphaltum is, and see if we can get a little darker texture into this. You know what? I might even go back to this. That's the oof, that's a little bit more indigo than I was thinking, but let's see what happens with this. Just to, again to maybe reflect it, because see who we've got the robe. Look at that. See how the robe is reflected on the floor right there. Maybe we'll try and get a little bit of the floor to be reflected onto the robe here too. Yeah, well, Bithron, I'm sure that, well, both of those should be fun. Ironically enough, the only time I had a chance to do the contra camo was on basically one of those basically 40K style vehicles that Victoria had. Unfortunately, I never got a chance to put that on any of my British vehicles. I actually had some Honey Stewarts, right, for the desert there, and I was gonna paint at least one of those in the British contra camo. But obviously, we're not going to get a chance to do that. Fortunately, you'll be able to. Going to snag a little bit of the blue here. Here. That's got a decent amount of the indigo in there, actually. Few more of our bluish dots there. Maybe some also here. On the shadow side of that cloak. So I think, yeah, now we can see a little bit of the blue in there. Of course, we're not trying to do Saruman of many colors here. I tried looking up some references for that just to see what the heck could I do. It's really something that would be... Well, no, for a second I was wondering, do we use the interference colors on those so that he shifts and changes? That might be the only way we could execute something like that. Is to actually almost do him with basically the metallic paints. Kind of like what we did with our Osiarchs. Yeah, I know they had the tan with that sort of a dark greenish brown, not quite a horizon line, but I know they did that. I mean, that one looks neat too. I know the contra camo always just makes so many people crazy. Do I want to put a little bit more of the blue in there? We'll put a little bit more of the blue in there. Like that. And like that too. I'll throw a little bit more of our blue in there. Here too. So that's a bit of indigo. You can really see it there. See that on his arm right there? Just letting that mix in with some of the browns, some of the tans. Again, we're just trying to get some of the floor reflecting this. I might maybe do some more of that down here too. Why not? Also over here. Let me come back with the light again here. And see, we'll just keep this with the fast matte here, and let's see what happens right along the edge of the cloak right here. Some down here too. I think we're missing out on some. I think the light would hit this fairly well, even though it's closer to the ground. Yeah, AD, this is well, we got to get caught up on Sarumans, right? Because this is our third Saruman. Technically, we have 5 Gandalfs right now, so we're trying to get caught up. So this is the old, well, this is the new plastic one over here that we painted up on stream, and then this is the old metal one that's got to go at least back to 2003. Could be 2002, but I'm guessing this came out with 2 towers, so I'm thinking possibly more like, or maybe the 2 towers box set or something. Could be wrong. It was a long time ago. What is it? Oh yeah, the I am Saruman as he should have been. Of course, now after catch another one of the lore videos, they kind of explain more what he meant by that. And obviously, the way they showed it in the movies, kind of a little bit. You don't quite get the full meaning of that saying. Let me see if I can't throw it a little more light here. The hair and the beard. I think I can get some right down here. That's basically the fast matte white there. It's relatively thin down. Now AD, I've been using the StynoRes on the Scope for a long time. Actually, well, it's right on here now. Yep, and well, here's a much older example because this goes back, wow, this one has to be a good 8 or 9 years ago, maybe. Possibly, maybe not that far. But it could be. This goes back quite a ways, right? Actually, this goes back to 2012, so that's more like 10 years. And that's the StynoRes on Sculpey. The Sculpey really loves it because the Sculpey is very absorbent. And the StynoRes works really well on the Sculpey clay. And sometimes, yeah, I'll just mix a little bit of paint with the primer even because it sticks onto the Sculpey so well. Few more dots of my lightest light here. Same thing on this part of this fold here. Not just dots, you can see that there's almost like alternating little weird stripes or something because trying to maybe get a bit of a design there instead of just the dots. This is certainly going to need some right in here because we went in with the darker stuff. I think also here we had gone in with our blending brush and done a wee bit of blending there too. So yeah, I know that there's some that are more flexible, of course, here with all the basing stuff that we do. That's why we use the gray extra firm Sculpey, right, for all of our texture roller stuff, right there. The white Sculpey is generally for, well, flat bases like this, or things like our bricks here. You can kind of see how we cut into those. So that's the white Sculpey right there, because it's very easy to carve that and break it. I wonder if Anamari has ever used the... I know, because I think we talked about it during one of her streams. She had asked about the Sculpey with all the sculptures that she does. I don't know if Anamari is streaming. I think she was streaming yesterday. Don't know if she is tonight. I'm actually going to go back into the brilliant yellow pale just a smidge here. For this area of our light there, more for the color of it than the actual value of it. See, that one got a little bit too light. Never fear, blending brushes here. Poof, there we go. That just no problem. Cut that down nice and easy. Yeah, let's touch in some. Oh, and there's Kathy back in the chat again. So if Kathy needs some water, something like that, maybe we'd have to go get her some water if she needs some. All right, get a couple more of those lighter dots here. Some. Oh, you know what? See right here. I might have to do that over here too. Calda, how are you doing? Fast red to mix in with the cadmium to make it dry. Okay. Okay. Now, of course, well, that you wouldn't want to be doing that obviously with our 3D printed stuff, because that would make it a bit soggy. Yeah, that would and of course, unfortunately, oils don't dry by they dry by they cure rather than dry, right? So that would kind of melt the miniatures, especially the 3D printed variety, probably resin ones too. I don't know what would happen with plastic ones. I've seen plastic ones, plastic figures be put in the trunk of cars, and they've come out very much the worse for wear. But thanks, Kelda. Appreciate you joining us here. I hope that you're having yourself, well, a good Saturday morning, because yeah, it's Saturday morning here, 2:38. So yeah, printing resins, they don't like heat very much. They're not super nice with that. Again, plastic miniatures could do a little bit better with it, but yeah, for the oils, they dry sort of when they dry. Again, the alkyds that we talk about, that can enhance the drying time, but they kind of have their own drawbacks. Not super, again, not a big fan of the alkyd stuff necessarily, but the MIG Ammo oil brushers, if I can dig one out here somewhere. Boy, that's really down in there. I don't think I can actually find one. But yeah, the MIG Ammo oil brushers, that has the, oh, here's one. These, I'm sure, even though they don't list them, these have alkyds in them, because those will dry, in some cases, 2-3 hours. Hey, Pindexter, nice to see you again. I just remember somebody, they had, oh gosh, I think it was all their Blood Bowl teams in a case in their car, in the parking lot, of course. So you can guess that in the trunk of the car, it probably got to about 130, 140 degrees, which is probably pushing about 60 Celsius, right? I know that 50 Celsius is about 115-ish or something, right? Again, I'm not better on maybe measurements, not so much. So powered elephant toes, there's a couple of things that you can do. Actually, someone had just asked me about that, and it's something that I would love to have myself. But an air filtration thing, just keep it by where your miniatures are, and that it will keep the dust off of them. The other thing you could possibly do is you have a little bit of a cardboard box upside down with some air holes in it, just so that it gets some circulation. Or you could put it in a cabinet or something like that. But the person that I suggested the air filter to, they got one and they absolutely love it because not only is it better for their miniatures, but they say they say it's actually better in that room where they're painting. So I mean, I wish I had one in here. I had hoped that maybe when I redid the room here, I could create a space to have one of those and get an air filter thing like that. I thought it would maybe be good too for some of the other the resin dust and other things as well. I'm just trying to get a little bit of my light in here. There we go. So yeah, powered elephant. Now, of course, well, we don't have the pets, so that's one thing. Now, of course, my here tends to float all over the place, and I probably generate enough dust just on my own. Oh, and by the way, a little over 3 hours ago, this had no paint on it. This was just primer. Just primer. And we've done a heck of a lot of texture here. We did the freehand on the base and such. So we've made quite a bit of progress on this guy. Again, we're just looking to match our plastic Saruman here. So there's, yeah, I'm looking at this back design right here, so I don't think I want to emphasize that too much more. We got some blue in there, some other colors. Let's see if we can do some white up here. Like so. So I wonder if Kathy is messaging one of her European friends, because now it's almost 10 o'clock in the morning in most parts of Europe, I think. Of course, that would explain why it's just so much more convenient for our European friends to be able to catch the streams lately, since they're probably starting at about almost 8 o'clock in the morning in Europe. Because let's see, when did we start this one? About 11:45. Yeah, that's a little bit before 8 in most parts. I never quite know what's the dividing line between, say, European Central Time Zone and such. Gonna get me a little more blue there. So it just kind of ages him a little bit. And again, you can see even on my hand here, right, there's some blue there. Ah, okay. I thought maybe Brush Guy or something was, or Misco or something was up. What's going on over there? Put a little bit more of our blue there. So we'll see. I'm gonna be curious though. When will this be dry in 3 hours? I don't think so. I really don't think so. Now this has a little bit of blue in it. Now, gosh, is that getting too light? That might be too light. Let me look at what we did here on his. Wow, this staff is much. Boy, you can see how much cleaner this. Oh, we did a little different approach here on the staff there. Interesting. Okay, well, I'm gonna leave it like this, right? I'll leave it like that. Let me see if I can't darken that down a smidge here, because it's going to end up too close to the robe. All right, there we go. Just this one area toned it. I don't mind maybe by his hands here. I might also cast a bit of a shadow onto that. You notice I didn't mix up a color or anything like that. I just took this color and we mixed it right on here. This is your palette. It's your canvas and your palette. It is both things at the same time. I know that could be a little bit unusual for folks that aren't quite used to the oils and such. It was the same when I was painting with the acrylics. It wasn't really all that different. Let's see if I can't get a little dark underneath this. Better thin that down. Maybe refine that cheek a little bit. Okay. Now I need to, oh gosh, this is going to be real interesting sticking this brush down in here, but I do believe I can maybe do that with this brush. Right there. Okay. Let me see what happens here. This could be too much light, but also this is part of his beard back here, and it can't all just be that dark. Not so sure that's working the way we had hoped, but it still has to be some light back there anyway, so it's all good. So again, that unlike the plastic figure, the metal one here, there was all kinds of mischief going on right there. That's probably one of the reasons why we had not painted this one yet. But somewhere I have the printing goes ever on Shmaruran. And we'll maybe paint him up as Saruman of many colors and see how that works. I don't know. Of course, if it doesn't work, we can just take a makeup sponge to it, wipe it all away. Seriously. Just take a makeup sponge, we'll wipe it all away. This started with a simple pre-glaze of indigo on the base. You can see it on the sponge there. And then basically Van Dyke Brown, a little asphaltum on the miniature, wiped it away. And then the lighter colors over the top. X-Bron, there is an I think it's called the Painters Guild. There's a channel in that called Wappelville, but Instagram is really, that's kind of my thing. And I'm just Wappelius on Instagram. You can see it right there. So yeah, just Wappelius on Instagram, just like I am on Twitch. Normally, all my moderators, they are all asleep right now. So I don't have the link to that Discord. But I think it is called the Painter. Actually, I think Bina might also. No, I can never remember what the heck the name of it is. I don't get a chance to look at that all the time. I can check my Instagrams all the time. And Facebook and YouTube. Those are my primary things. Discord, not so much. I was hoping to eventually be able to do more in the way of Discord. Oh, thanks, Paintwater. And AD2. Thank you so much, folks. I appreciate that. Yeah, Armored Wolf, I thought he was actually going to be here. And then Megan, of course, was here. And then, obviously, well, Megan's not 3 hours behind me time zone-wise like Armored Wolf is. But thank you so much, Paintwater. Appreciate that. And everybody, please give Paintwater Somalia that follow as well. But that's a really nice area that was set up there because people, they'll ask questions about the oils there. They'll show off their stuff there. There's also, I think, a channel for 3D printing questions as well. Lots of good stuff. All right, more of the A little bit of light there. Same over here. And if it ever gets on the rough side there, I can just take my blending brush and just smooth that all out. Smooth it all out nice and easy.